There is high probability that this coming MPSC would be without optionals. So nothing is 100%. Notification is not out yet. So go on with your preparation. So maybe this is just one of other rumors that is spreading around. But for me, I believe in my source, and no probability it would be without optionals. Leaving that aside, let's get to our topic for today. So, syllabus and topic say how it's paper 3 and GS paper 2 GS paper 2 UPSC paper 3 governance, constitution, polity, social justice and international relation. Masida international relation ki part of. So that would be my section. So Masiki section let's look at the syllabus and look at the trend from where the questions are asking in the past 5-6 years, and also a strategy as that we should adopt in approaching this unit. So asino this thing only uramuda mandre aigi pause pick masiki words adubu. This is the part. Last last 4 unit of paper 2 ko aduna khoi gi syllabus hai. So masida yauri se kari no India and its neighborhood relations. Asi masiki paper se unit se nainaba international relation haizaragasu. The nature of our studies and the focus of our studies would be different from the international relations that you study in political science. The more practical application part in a so if there is any students from political science background, you might find it too simplistic an approach because the theoretical perspectives in the that is not requirement of our exams. Although paper 2 title to the international relation content of we can more or less say that IR part is more of India's relation part. So theoretical aspect, different approaches like Marxist approach, feminist approach, realist approach, idealist approach strictly based on what is given in the syllabus called India and its neighborhood. So to define the relations. The India neighborhood we will deal with our immediate neighbor, extended neighbor call, and then the world at large. Then bilateral, regional, global groupings and agreement involving India or affecting India's interest. I don't think I need to explain here much. See, bilateral relation, I am the two countries relation call in simple words. Regional, global groupings, masida regional grouping the SARC call. Asian, global grouping, the World Trade Organization, UN call. And or any agreements involving India or affecting India's interests. The home Shugadana effect of policies and politics of developed and developing countries on Indian interests. See, these are all self-explanatory syllabus. So this we will strictly be focusing our classes on this. Aduga Masida India historical evolution of India's historical relation of foreign policies and its relationship. Class 1 class, yes, class because foundation to so other than that, I am a topic dynamic syllabus Honorable Prime Minister na chali mo kay syllabus chawre syllabus chawal loi jai Prime Minister petition mo tha si sir sahi mo lang ni na chatti ranu na ko yam dynamic oiba kano ni current affairs kayamba related oiba adugumba topic ni but adu weraga su as we go forward as we look at the core interests of India akhon ugudo udi karino haraga adum hoi dynamic oizeraga su madu static oiba the adum yarakani ko so akhon the foundation the base to strong and current affairs would just be an updation to our notes and like that aduga ashi syllabus so let us go to some of the past questions ashi I kari gidamak churning manu haraga I was because hana dum coaching larapum matamda masigi subject in naina matamda oza sing tak pa kai harapum matamda khoju like international relation haraga shikha to taya to patak te ko ten o khan do by the back of my mind do muskar like hida banate ko like do busas but housing examination tharaga question paper just analyze tharaga oh maza koi matam do to it was good koi matam manganing da ko matam mang da na and strictly focusing on the need of the question do gidamak tani have the realization do right adu housing question why do I want to start with question is because I want you to equip you with the nature of the questions that is asked and also let you know that the question is not asked beyond this syllabus asida piribasidagi hendokna hangmadi I think na they have I na question 2014 dagi analyze tawrak ko 14 to 22 I know the slide will look that asina 2022 gini aduga amana karino haraga the weightage mark weightage masigi if we're looking at the trend 2018-19 adudagi di mark se khali kumthare nemthare hana di 80s 70s 80s 60s adumaina ko mark se 60 to 80 mark se trend chalamani masigi sigi IR section se adubu housing se on an average question se I am the minimum ahum hangni to average mari no man hang ma ko thing like ko masida weight marks from the hierarchy we can safely say 45 20 or 50 to 75 80 do I asigi can also with mark with this section I don't mark the yami see it's worth giving our effort and time aduga am interesting over subject so unlike disaster management so I might go a little slow on this the issue say class amada state amma or if necessary 2 classes on one country ko the minor koi autumn just spend the other so this is 2002 questions so if you look at the question India is an always friend of Sri Lanka so you know this the first question has to deal with India's and its neighborhood the second this is regional grouping the third is also regional global grouping of regional hydra but if not regional then you can include it in global grouping grouping is issue the third one also as issue kind of context and emerging issues context so my idea is the third one would come under let's say asida way this one 3 gida aduna the idea is the point that I want to drive home here is no question is asked beyond the syllabus aduna there is no need for us even though international relation is a very vast topic in itself adubu we don't have to worry about it if we strictly focus on the given syllabus which is very large in itself. It's a vast syllabus, but not that vast as compared to international relation. It's a subject called. So this is 2020. Only 3 questions were asked in 2020. So she doesn't mean nothing outside the syllabus. So that being the point, 17, okay. 3 question 14 the question 18 but the mark wastage has come down drastically. So with that being said, so the question before us is, why do India even need to follow to have pursue international? Come on, forget it. That's just a lame question. So international relation just understand in very simple sense. It is just a relation of country with other countries. That's it, as simple as that. Asida koi definition, the curry definition, what we have to know is these determinants of foreign policies called. So these are the foundations, okay? Questions, see what are the determinants of foreign policy? Question the hang budi I thazade hosiko hangsu deko. So adubu masigi foundation che layo matamda koina we can understand better international relation and we can better understand India's engagement with other nations. Why do India need to pursue international relation, and what are the objectives of India's international relations or India's foreign policy scope, or do they remain the same or do they change over time? India pursue international relation simply because of the fact that India as a nation exists in this world, because no country in the world can exist on its own. And then over the history, we witnessed this. So that's just, I don't think that's even an addition of knowledge, what I just said, but just a statement of fact, which is just out there for us to see. India now, international relation or foreign policy, pursue what do India want to achieve? So why do we engage with China? Why do we engage with Pakistan? Why do we engage with the United Nations organizations? Why don't India remain out of this United Nations organization? It is not mandatory for every nation to join United Nations organization. It is not mandatory for India to join IMF. It is not mandatory for India to join World Trade Organizations. But why? Why do India pursue these policies? The objective of any foreign policies or the objective of any country is survival. First is the survival of the country is the objective of any foreign policies. And the second is, when I talk about the objective, it's not an exhaustive list. Okay, you can add many, but what I'm telling you is, we can say the summarization of those exhaustive lists. Survival, because without survivability, without survival of the nation, what is even foreign policies, what is even international relation of that country at all? So survival of the country is one of the objectives. Second is the growth and development of that country. So I think we can, in general, subsume all objectives of international relation and foreign policies of a country in that two simple words. One is security, and the third is growth and development, and fulfilling the needs of its citizens. So, student of international relations or student of political science might want to add more and more to this. So that's up to you. You can add it. There is no problem with that. So, and it is not very important also from our answer writing point of view, but for our conceptual pedagogy point of view, it is important. Because every foreign policy has an objective at the back of the mind. For any international relations that we engage in with other countries has an objective. It is not some random act done by some automaton without rational. So it has a rationality behind it. It has objectives behind it. I don't know. So then if we have objectives, if we have goals in pursuing these international relations, in formulating certain foreign policies, then the next question that arises is, what are the objectives? So I know objectives. So I am subsume what need a higher about security of the state or security of the country as a whole, and the economic development. The Masiki goals, you can see just two of the primary goals. There can be many goals in formulating foreign policies or engaging with other countries. Although, question is, do this objective change? I don't know, the primary objective to the it remains the same, I think, in almost all of our history so far. And if we look at the history of India and also the other countries and international engagement over the history. But the objectives, the other objectives can change, and it has also changed. Some during the time of India's independence, think about it. What might well be the primary objectives? And then these objectives and these goals also determined by other factors. This I'm listing down here, and I'll explain point by point here. Objectives should change the way I call. It might change, and then you can add more because, for example, I'll say a country like Nepal or Bhutan. So if I know foreign policies, international engagement, they don't have desire, and they don't have the objective of becoming a regional power. But what do we know? They can change their objectives. We don't know. So that's just one example. But high level objectives or any foreign policies or any international engagement karina determine tawbra. Like, is it realistic, like energy high with the go for Nepal, example Nepal countries, to aspire to be a world power? Is it realistic for Bhutan to become the world major economy in the world? So realistically speaking, at least in the foreseeable future, that's not going to happen. And then we don't see them pursuing towards that end either. I don't know. The economic foreign policies or international engagement with any other countries like influence the determinant factors, the factors determining how a certain country behave or how a certain country formulate its policy is based on these factors that I'm listing you here. But this is also not exhaustive. You can add, but these are the major factors that determines any country's foreign policies or its international engagement. One, geography the house. Geography. So it is sometimes says geography is destiny. So geography. Geography the house. Let's take the example of India. Now, why did recent event the geography ceiling Afghanistan geography influence in foreign policies or in international relationship Pakistan the examples Pakistan with reference to Afghanistan. So why did Pakistan become so important for United States, or what is the rationale behind the close relationship between these two nations, United States of America and Pakistan? India को just map see Pakistan later Afghanistan Iran China Ocean Karigino haiba matamda hauzik ekhoina United States involvement in Afghanistan yenga matamdadi since 1979 and Russia na mo Cold War gi matamda ko Russia na Afghanistan se occupy tawdiba matamdagi as the Cold War strategy. The US started involving in Afghanistan in a huge way. USA did not want Russia in Afghanistan. But how do USA engage with Afghanistan, with Russia in Afghanistan? Iran, they cannot get through Iran. India get through the Moichang. They have to get to Afghanistan through Pakistan. So, geography of Pakistan enhance its profile with regards to United States of America, with the needs, geopolitical needs of United States of America for its involvement in Afghanistan. Aduna, since United States of America, which is on the other side of the ocean, miles and miles away, they need Pakistan to access to Afghanistan. It happens during the Soviet era, fighting the Russians, and a Rainbow film the Yemaganda Mujahideen Jindo Hero Rainbow party in support of the Mujahideens against the Russian invaders. Then in 2000, we see US invasion of Afghanistan, and then all the supply were going through Pakistan. So this geography, I'm just giving you an example. Pakistan is top India. So why is India gaining importance in? There are many other factors. Okay, one of the factors of India's gaining importance in the now geopolitical environment as of now is because of India's location in Indian Ocean. Carry on. So geography as a determinant of foreign policy. See, that example that I gave you of Afghanistan is just one. India issue India's Central Asia policy. Why is India actively engaging with Iran, or why is India developing these ports like Charbahar port? Kari India na Central Asia, Central Asia, Central Asia like that. Central Asia sida resources natural resources, natural gas, uranium deposits, and India needs that resources for its energy security, for its economic growth, and for its nuclear programs. Adubu, look at India's geography and Central Asia's geography. India has no access to Central geography, Central Asia. Land route access to the shortest route would have been through Pakistan and Afghanistan. Afghanistan is one of but Pakistan does not give access to us. So what did India do? So India has to engage with Iran to reach Central Asia through Iran. Aduna koi si the Charbahar port kahiri the call. And India developed already. So because of that. And look at Nepal or Bhutan. They're landlocked countries. So their engagement with the outside world cannot be the same as countries like India or other countries which has access to the sea. So what I'm giving you here is just some examples of how geography is determining the foreign policies or international engagement of a country with others. So when the geography importance sea power theory, land power theory, I'm interesting topic which are not important to us. I'm not going to go into that. I think it will be diversion of a topic. Well, all right. So I have done this geography. Then let's look at history and culture as determinants of foreign policies. So look at the countries and the culture around the world. So, and their engagement with other countries and other culture. So, even India, I think perhaps India is one of the few countries which in its own constitution has, under Article 51, the stated goal of having peaceful relation with others and which strive for world peace. The fine print of Article 51 we'll discuss in the next class. So, this is attributed to India's history because India's Ashoka Dhamma influence India, so India foreign policy pursuit of war and violence is not our first resort. Our first resort is peaceful settlement of disputes. Approach in dealing with international issues or foreign policies as culture, history to a certain extent affect the way determine the way because the military strength, perhaps one of the most important. Military strength is one of them. So now, imagine a country Imagine no. Let's get to the real world. International relations is not less about imagination, more about practicality. So let's deal with all real examples. So China pursue the policy that it pursues. China is it's a rising power. So its stand in the recent past has been that of assertiveness, aggression. Na moigi policy say India moigi border dispute like from that aggressive stance, aggressive postures South China Sea the game but why? How can they do that? And why are they not doing before? And why are they doing just now? I think in a high border dispute, say it's not yesterday's today's issues. It has been there since long time ago. But its postures, its policies in dealing with these border issues, or its engagement with other countries is different from the recent China's assertiveness that we're seeing in recent past. Madhukari, the military strength is one of the important factors. For example, United States of America. The Atlantic Ocean ki wang labor country is Afghanistan engaged West Asia engaged. So why is that? Engaged with that military strength, the corresponding foreign policies or their engagement with other nations also changes. So, West Asia, the United States of America, say Atlantic Ocean they have a huge, they have a sizable military strength in the West Asia. Afghanistan they can pursue that policy. Why? Because of their military strength. So military strength exercised only when you have economic growth and development. So the second part, economic growth and development. Then the economy is strong or dragadi. How can you become a world military strength? How are you going to pay your soldiers? So economic growth and development, the strength of the economy also determines the international engagement and foreign policies. If your economy is not strong, then it is very unlikely that your military will be as strong. Your military is only as strong as your economy. India and China example again. So economy, when we look in terms of economy, China is much larger than us. India engagement with Africa, India and Africa countries engaged over Matamda, or China and African countries engaged over Matamda, or any other country engaged over Matamda. We cannot play the same game that China is playing, because if we do that, then we are playing on China's strength. We cannot do that, because when China can give 100 billion loan, can India give? The answer is most of the case, no. Why India beating they have not table, but economic strength wise China na hena more, we have to admit it, they're more capable than us. And as a key economy say more policy tool in use to say China aggressively used to tool say. But the point here is this economy is also one of the determinants in pursuing foreign policy. But how's it India follow the policy or China follow the policy say Sumaina Bangladesh na adugi policy to follow the ngamoy. Nang economy do strong country you can widen your horizon. You can widen your engagement. India, neighbor, immediate neighbors, Bhutan and Nepal, for example, they cannot pursue the same foreign policy that India pursue. They cannot have that kind of engagement that India has with the African countries or the countries of Southeast Asia, or for that matter, any other countries. They cannot have that. Why? Because foreign policies and international engagement is determined by all the factors that I've listed down so far. Then domestic politics and political structure. Domestic politics and political structure. Machine show foreign policies determined by international engagement. So the best example I think in the news now is that of India and Bangladesh. India and Bangladesh, Tista water agreement. Tista water issues here. There is domestic politics involved. The interests of the state of West Bengal. As you see, international issues between India and Bangladesh, but the central government at center cannot, at its own whims, at its own limitation because of the domestic politics, because they have to look into the interests of their Bengal constituency. So, and one of the example, domestic politics. India and Sri Lanka relation to India and Sri Lanka relation what do we see? Because of the interests of the UPA when I think DMK or AIDMK of these two, when they were part of the coalition government under the UPA government. So because of the pressure from these political parties from the south, the UPA government and India has to vote, or I think abstain from vote again. India has to vote against Sri Lanka in United Nations organizations on certain issues. International politics or foreign policies or international engagement is also determined by domestic politics and also political structures. So, for example, Kim Jong-un, a dictator. So what North Korea can pursue as its foreign policy, and what India Prime Minister Honorable Sri Narendra Modi can pursue his foreign policies can be different because of different political structures. And what the kind of foreign policies pursued by Pakistan and the kind of foreign policy pursued by India can also be different because of the nature of its polity. So, an international environment. So, we live in a world. So, nation state exists among other nation states. A nation state does not exist in isolation. So what is happening outside of that country has implications on any other countries as well. For example, what happened in West Asia has implication for us. So, the international environment Cold War matamda during the time of Cold War, after 1947, Second World War matamda, what we see in the international environment is the emergence of two global powers, United States of America and the other one is USSR. So masigumagi political environment sida. So in fact, after the Second World War and during the Cold War, until the disintegration of the Soviet Union, even after that, to an extent, the political engagement and foreign policies of the nations around the world are to a great extent shaped by this political development, by the emergence of these two superpowers, USA and USSR. Aduna, masigi environment asida India ki policy se yengsebako. So, masigi matam sida the countries during that time were either joining, not all, but many countries come joining either the USA camp or the USSR camp. So, Maduda, India adopted a policy of non-alignment. USA the Suyaudaba, and the USSR Suyaudaba. They says that we will not join any alliance, but we will decide and pursue an autonomous or independent foreign policies. But then, after the end of the Cold War, with the disintegration of USSR, the emergence of United States of America for a short period of time, you can say, if we look at world history at large, as a lone superpower. Countries around the world, their engagement, their policies has to be altered. The same happened for India. And that is one of the examples. When things, the West Asia, West Asia crisis like because we are dependent on West Asia for energy security, and also a large section of our population is working. I think over 8 million is working in West Asia, and we get a lot of remittance from this people working in West Asia. So whatever happens there has implications on us. So our engagement with them and also our engagement with other countries is dependent, is not isolated. So what is happening around the world is also important in determining the foreign policies. So leadership, perhaps this is most profound in India. Leadership, India foreign policy say tomorrow when we look at evolution of India foreign policy, we will deal with this more. Leadership, the persona, the personality of the leader, and the ideals of the leader also determine the foreign policy of a country. India Indian independent first Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru. So India foreign policy until 1962, or even after that, even Housing Powers the imprint of his thinking, of his ideals, can be seen even in the foreign policies of India today. So, as India pursuit of foreign under Nehru leadership, as a foreign policy though, if India was not under Nehru, say if Subhash Chandra Bose was the Prime Minister of India during that time, our approach, our foreign policies, and our international relation could have been different. So, Nehru idealism, Nehru thinking, foreign policies that influential. For example, his idealism, his vision on internationalism, on Panchil, then his engagement with the world through non-aligned movement. We can say that these are legacies of Nehru in our foreign policies. And institutions, I had mentioned, for example, the strength of the parliament or the nature of the government. Even history, I couldn't explain the history. For example, India independent why we pursue the policy of non-alignment, why we do not join the side of United States of America or we do not join USSR. The history is also one of the component. Why? Because India has to fight a very long struggle for its independence. So India did not want to get into the trap of these major powers in dictating its future and in deciding its foreign policies. So just one of the reasons. So history do plays a part in determining India's foreign policies. So these are some of the determinants of foreign policy. So when we look at this, can the determinants of a foreign policy change? The answer is absolutely yes. So the foreign policy that India is pursuing now might not be possible in the past. When India got independence, our life expectancy was somewhere around 26 years. Our literacy rate was just, I think, around 14%. Agriculture was in shambles. We are dependent on food aid. And then our economy never grew above 3% till, I think, perhaps the reforms in 1991. Are we engaged with the world in the way that we're engaging now? Can we give loans in terms of billions and billions to African nations or to our neighbors? Can we build dams like we're building dams in Nepal? The answer probably is no. So we are able to pursue the foreign policies that we pursue or engage with other nations the way we engage, also because of the changing capacity of a country. So these determining factors can change. So, for example, geography. Geography is now, I say Afghanistan, Pakistan example, so it has changed now. Why? Because the relevance of Pakistan in geopolitics from at least USA point of view has changed. Why? Because after the triumph of the Taliban in Afghanistan and withdrawal of US from Afghanistan, and the importance of US of Pakistan has come down because they don't need more. They don't need Pakistan anymore to get access to Afghanistan. Of course, I'm not saying that the relevance is gone, like Pakistan is out of the picture of USA calculations, but the relevance in geopolitics has, at least to an extent, come down. For example, even the geopolitical importance of Iran to us. If we have a very good and cordial, thriving relationship with Pakistan, its geopolitical importance to India might decrease. And in international relations, we don't know. There are no permanent friends and no permanent foes. Of course, we have to be careful in dealing with others, but if United States of America and Japan can be the best of friends, then what is stopping us from engaging with one another? So, but saying that doesn't mean that it will be like USA and Japan. We have different history, so it will not be the same. But the idea is this determinants also changes with time. And even the objective also changes with time. So for example, now let's look at some of the objectives of India now in international relations. As we read the newspapers and as we discuss the other topics that we will be discussing in classes, will become more clear. But just a summary of it, let's look at what India wants now. So even during the time of independence, Nehru was aware, or at least in India as a country was aware, that India has the potential to be a great power in the world. But in 47, we were starving. We don't have enough resources. But we have that potential power to be a great power in the future. So that's why if we look through this lens, then we can appreciate Nehru for all the criticism leveled against him. I think credit, due credit should be given to him for where India is at right now. And we will discuss more about this tomorrow. But the idea that I want to give is the objectives also changes. Now, in 1947, it was not absolutely, what absolutely not might be a very strong of a word, but very unlikely for India to pursue the kind of nuclear policies that India have now, or the kind of engagement that India has with other countries. That was not possible. So now some of the objectives of India, as we know, as we see now in its foreign policies and international engagements, first is of course the security and integrity of the country. The second is its economic growth. So this economic growth, its economic necessities and its energy securities necessitated India engagement with other countries. And then India's position in the global community. India aspired to be among the top in the world communities, in all spheres, politically, militarily, economically, in all the spheres. And India wants to be in United Nations Security Council. India wants to be in nuclear supplier group. These are some of the objectives that India wants. But tomorrow, if the UN becomes defunct, we cannot say that UN is going to exist. Also, because experiment in the past, like the League of Nations, has failed. So what is the guarantee that the UN is going to succeed for this 100, 200 coming years? It might succeed, it might not succeed, we don't know. And then now India is fighting for UN Security Council permanent seat. But if the relevance of UN is going down, then why do even India need? And if there is an alternative form of engagement in the world, then India might say that objectives might be, leave aside. And even membership to nuclear supplier group, if nuclear technology or if nuclear as a resource is becoming redundant with involvement of new technologies, and if nuclear weapon is of no importance, then perhaps India's objectives to be a member of nuclear supply group also will change. So, but the idea is any country follow foreign policies or engage with other countries based on what it wants to achieve. So I point out any international relationship or any engagement with other countries or any associations or any regional groupings or international organization, what is the objective of India in engaging with these countries? Because we do not engage just for the sake of engagement. We have interests at the back of our mind while engaging with other countries. So first is, what is the objectives? And the second is it achievable? Is it doable? Is it reasonable? And that will be based on the determinants that is there. So how Nepal cannot dream even to be a sea power, a landlocked country. It's not possible. Geography limit its possibilities in that direction. So the determinants. So first is, what do India want to achieve? The objectives based on its national interest. The second is, what are the determining factors in pursuing that foreign policies or in engaging with the other nations? That this always has to be kept in mind. So in formulating uh, and answers. For example, if you come across questions that you don't know, I think which will be very unlikely, but this is the two things that we always have to keep in mind. What objectives do we have in engaging with any country? For example, India relationship with Israel. This is an example for. So you apply that what I just told you. What? What is the objectives in India engaging with Israel? Second, so what are the enabling factors? When we talk about determinants, we can also understood it in terms of enabling factors. What are the enabling factors which allow these two countries to engage? And what are the impediments? What are the challenges? So I think all questions of international relation, to a great extent, it revolve around these three questions. So that is perhaps just the brief introduction of what we will be doing, and a brief introduction of international relation. And the strategy for this international relation is, I want you to read at least one book on international relation. I think that you can choose one from the market. So Tata McGraw-Hill's publication is not bad. You can go for it. And one thing that we cannot miss out is current affairs and Hindu editorials, or any editorials of India Times, Hindustan Times, or Indian Express, or anything called. But the editorials based on this international relation. Actually, you miss you don't miss it. So it's a dynamic concept. Aduga prelims point of view the hierarchy. So prelims is strictly international relation question the like there are questions asked for. So prelims point of view mostly what happened is a map-based question the international relation map-based question it goes closely together. For example, India Prime Minister said he is going around countries of so if you go to Israel, for example, and then some important agreements were signed and things like that. So what happened is the reason becomes important from map-based questions point of view, and then the other one is what are the agreement that was agreed to so this is actually I think prelims also IR related questions we can say 3-4 exact because that IR can also be grouped in geography question IR related questions 5 to 6 hangdi hangni asini. So what like use Tobiro current affairs update Tobiro, and then based on the editorials and asigida awareness say awareness is very important, awareness of what is happening around the world, and also interrelation of issues. I don't know, Masi questions in say if you look at the nature of the question also. Direct question the expect of the direct question the so I'll just give you an example. How will you two grouping transform India position in global politics? Do you think BIMSTEC is a parallel organization like this? what are the similarities and dissimilarities. Then I don't know. I am one of the. I see the demand of the questions require us to have command over the subject. And number two is looking at the issues with the what I view hype tar na ko. Aji ekhoina engagement se kari hagini. Suppose India Israel. I'll go back to India Israel again. Just look at the question here. India Israel Indo-US deal. So, Indo-US deal never go. What we are doing, see, economic like that, benefits or India Indo-US relationship or Indo-US deals like a par. But the question is very rarely go. I mean, almost every time it will strictly be on that issue. So it will be on implications of that issue with other dimensions or with other aspect of India relationship. I don't know, see the question, Indo-US deals over Indo-Russia defense deals. I don't know, but I view issue to the focus. So very rarely just one issue is asked. So that issues and its implication for India and others, India relationship with others, perspective to oina ayamana hangmani aduna madugidu answer to khumbangamge haiba taragadi nakan amu khakte da yenbagi haina bidu thalo pibo adu suppose India sam haiba ganda hojik India ga US ka relationship panahu kana honare na ko. So it's growing also. It's part of hiccups here and there. India relation US relationship cut India US relationship la even maram moiraga India ka Pakistan da kari lakani India ka China da kari lakani India ka Russia da kari lakani ko adu mayam je yengba haibagi chanabi or hainabi have tarina so we need to develop and this will develop over time aduga masigi answer si iba matamdi some when nang no in editorials pava matamda or any literature of international relation pava matamda terminology se ko terminology this is also one of my weak points terminology se don't take it for granted. For example in say Iran ye panma matamda geopolitical relationship kahaina ko. So what does this geopolitical mean? Asi gumse India ka Iran relationship the India Iran alliance ka iredi dum question examiner dun he game dum oh masi yare na dum kakra so the terminology used to the terminologies like alliance strategic partnership used to say we have to be very careful and we have to know what we are as I go forward with the classes differences relation no terminology matang sana di explain torakani adubu no in a pava matamda newspaper pava matamda any terminologies don't take it for granted. If you don't understand, use Google. Try to understand the meaning of the terminology. For example, India-China border conflict it's always in the news. So what you will see is terms like conflict, standoff, skirmishes. So what is the difference between standoff, skirmishes, and conflict? Skirmishes to the standoff and high already or conflict and high already. Bad impression, bad impression on examiner, and also our answer carries a totally different meaning. How's it conflict the war and hygiene? So technically, example when having the 1962 Indo-China war, say or newspaper or any literature, it will be referred to as war, but technically government of India position and China government position is conflict, Indo-China conflict. So even the Kargil war, it's a conflict, not a war. I don't know how difference to the we'll discuss it, but the idea that I want to give you here is when you read your newspaper or any books, terminologies, just don't by heart it and go. Read, find out in Google, and try to understand the meaning. So that is the end of today's session. Okay, so like I said, this is the syllabus. Just 4-sentence syllabus ni adu chaw review loire. Question palm question the I thabi rakpe agam group ta. Nasi di ayo ayam di loina. Abdi atop di keso laite do. Nasi question part if you want, I think I can send in the group. Or palm day group the notification, yam na bne hai kaso thad rashi ai. The question is compile the if you don't compile it, then I think this will be helpful to you. Okay, I'll do that. So any question? Subject in depth to the chung. So a cursory of what this subject is, and then just the basic international relation equations. Like I said, there is huge mark of 45 6 to 60 marks. It's you can score good marks. So okay, like 2014 happened. Why? Because 13 14 syllabus question hang se change 14 short notes kumba tu mayam hang adu object team adu tawdre aduna 14 questions happy. And if you are studying I mains ki experience I know the crowd share the how to study. So even for optionals and other subjects, the questions I am anihum club or hanging me the yam tore. And ethics kidi sir naso hierarchical male. And do ethics ki 100 key questions sange kusang to as a case study since go aduna I am mana nangnadre at least the people in my classroom I've done or friends that I know hanging the ethics kan nang they have no way. So how strategy that you're going to adopt those question do yengo question do yengo kari tau ga abra that yengo so ko do in hindsight go in a kan question though case study, what are the possible approach that can be adopted kahina hangbalo adu the hangbala mari gumba piba the mga taruk ko sugradi lure next question to critically analyze each option amu harakani dang taruk or tare ire khalo do taruk mak to analyze to so what do That's there. So the Mari best possible Mari Kando Eva, Mari the Katan Tauko. I think that would be a better option. When Kaledoga, you know, revision. Revision is extremely important. No, the mains key answer it will be really helpful. No, you do that will extremely be helpful to you all. Keep writing your mains answers. And questions specific basics IMD color coding question who expect that the polity power cases खरा खंजिनबदी हरारायन कल नोय हाना खंग दुमान पारम सुयादो आई केस में हमसे यामन पापा द वेरा करे केस किया वो क्वेश्चन को दुमान होए. So we should keep on writing. Please keep on writing, and revision is extremely important. Revise the view, EView, aduga jiki pagwanda question say specific oiba yawa laibnina kitang detail oina go main kaino ne hairagasu GS general studies ne hairagasu question se kitang specific oirakpagi mami se dum tai go aduna any topic paba matamda detail the pavio and finer points mayam do go adu fajana note sembiraga revise and tobio. For example, environment ge hairane koi polity paba matamda handa ki question lakdo like right to environment like fresh air healthy environment is part of fundamental rights ka hairana go adu how many of you remember the cases adu do karamba case karamba verdict thokibno naina go adu do maru oiba current news te laiba adu finer detail do pabagi mathau tarabra en khale ko yes hajiraga so specific che dum hangi adune so aduna khoi international relations di kitang munna tamna tawse market weightage su yame aduga hojiki terminology saying sai haibu ko adu cover kare pawa matamda nam gyan tana pana view. That's all for today, and then from tomorrow we'll get into the topic, the real deal. So that's the end. I'll be here for 5 more minutes if there is anyone who wants to ask questions, things like that, or if not, you can leave.